Hello everyone and welcome to the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series here tonight from the ROVAL. We want to thank you for coming out here for the broadcast on VSpeed. We've had a couple issues getting the stream up and going, but we are here. The drivers are qualifying, but we are going to run a quick league intro so you can see the action that you're going to see on track here tonight.
Everybody ready, set, go. Rev it up and let's roll. There's a party in the fast lane. Got my hands on the wheel and I'm flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on the stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine. Bringing back the sunshine. Baby, it's about time. Bring it back.
And we're here back at the track. This is race number 3 of the playoffs here in the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series, presented by Alpha Ornamental Metals. This is the ROVAL 125 here tonight, and just a few seconds left here in qualifying. We're going to run through the points very quickly coming into tonight's race. We've pretty much got 4 drivers locked into round 2 at the top of the standings, with Alex Pelican, his win last week at Richmond, he is guaranteed in, and he's currently sitting on the pole here tonight. So looking good for him. And we've got a few drivers below the cut line right now who need to have a solid run, and it's really within reach of Christopher White, Troy Sabat, and Nicholas Starling to make their way in. Currently a tie on the cut line tonight here at the ROVAL, so it could be a dramatic finish here tonight between some of these drivers to see who makes it in and who is out of the next round. So this is the standings as we come into the race. Anybody in yellow is not locked in or guaranteed in, and anybody in red is currently on the outside looking in. So that is where we're at, and should be a good one here. We had a great race last night in the iRacing Fantasy National Series, and really looking forward to it here at the ROVAL. But looks like qualifying is all set here, so we are going to go and take a look at these guys as they're starting to get onto the grid here tonight. So we're going to run through our starting grid at the ROVAL, race number 3 in round 1 of the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series playoffs. On the pole, it's last week's winner, Alexander Pelican. So making a good name for himself here at the start of this event. We'll have to see what he can do if he can capture another win for 2 in a row. On the outside, it's going to be Chris James rolling off in that second position, the number 51 machine. Good laps by both of them, and congratulations for those front row positions. Eric Wineland going to be rolling off in third here with Jacob Shorba, who comes in second in points, going to be starting in that 4th position. 5th place, your points leader coming into tonight, Jonathan Hernandez. He is guaranteed in, no issues, and he's got a top 5 starting spot. Daniel Hallis going to be rolling off in 6th here tonight. Philip Radochik going to roll off in 7th here. Mark Brannigan starting in 8th position. Darren Clement going to be rolling off in 9th, and Chad Ginningsman going to be rounding out the top 10 on the starting grid. In 11th, it's Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the number 11 machine. Cody Jordan going to be rolling off in 12th. Brandon Andrews starting 13th. Jeremy Boucher 14th. 15th is Richard Springer. 16th is Mike Springer. 17th is Frank Wineset. 18th is going to be Nicholas Starling in the number 43 machine. 19th is going to be Christopher White, and rounding out the top 20 is Tanner Thues. 21st, we've got Derek Runge, the number 47 machine, and in 22nd, it is Justin Boyles, who is pretty well secured in the playoffs here, rolling off in 22nd. 23rd, Chris Etcheper, that number 41 machine. Jordan Brockle comes in on the cut line in 24th position. James Love rolling off in 25th. James Jungerman going to be rolling off in 26th. Ryan Strunk rolling off in 27th here tonight, and Justin Carey going to be starting in 28th position. And that's going to do it for our field here. Only 28 drivers, but looking like it's going to be a good one here. And Alex Pelican, paint scheme of the week, that Jack Daniels number 3 machine. A great looking race car here tonight at the ROVAL. And I think he's got a pretty fast race car out there as well. So if you're not familiar with the Charlotte ROVAL, we've got some information there to fill you in. We've got a 17-turn course here, 2.28 miles, and tonight's race is going to be 55 laps, or just over 125 miles for these drivers. There are some very tricky sections here, and this rear chicane has been deepened or widened, so it is a much more technical area of the course rather than the high-speed chicane that they had here last year. So should be a good one, and we saw some mistakes made throughout different areas of the course last night, and really great side-by-side action all night, so should be a great race. Of course, we want to give a big shout out to Alpha Ornamental Metals for sponsoring tonight's event. We solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron. Also home to the Streamline railing. You can check those guys out over on Facebook.com/Alpha Ornamental Metals. We put the link there in the chat, so you guys go check them out. And the field making their way down the backstretch here, and I think we're going to be going green this time by, so looking forward to it. It's going to be Alex Pelican and the 51 of Chris James on that front row. We want to thank you for joining tonight's stream. My name is Adam Baker. I'll be the commentator here tonight, and looking forward to going through this race here with you. If you haven't commented already in the chat, please comment your favorite driver or who you think is going to win tonight's race at the ROVAL and lock themselves into the next round. We'll try and keep up with those drivers throughout the race as they're making their way into turns 15, 16, and 17. Side by side they go, waiting for that green flag, and it's out. The 3, Pelican, a good jump, but Chris James actually a better run out of that chicane, and he's got the nose out in front. The 3, a little bit of a bump there from the 12. As they file their way down into the intersection of the track. Pelican now out in front by just about a half second in front of Chris James, and they all make it through there pretty well. Possibly some issues for a few drivers. Looking like maybe the 47, I don't know if he started from the pits. Yeah, he did start from the pits along with Jordan Brockle, as well as Mike Springer currently making his way around the course as well. Those drivers all starting from the pit lane here at the beginning of this race. Out in front, looks like Derek Runge already with an issue, that number 47 machine. So, not sure what happened there. We're going to bring up our ticker so you can follow along with your favorite drivers here tonight. Alex Pelican, last week's winner, out in front already here. Thank you, Wolf Racing 642, for the follow and supporting V-Speed here tonight. That number 3 machine making his way around to complete lap number 1. And he is being chased by Chris James, who is currently sitting about a second behind as they go down into turn number 1. They make it in there nicely. We've got a little bit of a battle here. Maybe a few drivers with issues early on in this, but some close racing still happening here. Cody Jordan just about a half second back from Darren Clement in that number 1 machine. They file through the infield section once again for lap number 2. And the stages tonight are going to be on lap 14, lap 28, and then the end of the race on lap 55, and that'll be just over 125 miles here at this road course. As we see, the 37 of Cody Jordan actually does have some right rear damage, so a little bit of beating and banging going on lap number 1 as he now gets to the inside of Darren Clement through NASCAR turns 1 and 2. This is a good battle here. The 37 is going to take that spot onto the back straightaway. And the 1 peeks back down low, but going to have to tuck in line. So he kind of overshoots it a little bit. He's going to lose ground to the 37 because of that. Losing at least a second, maybe more, in that sequence of events. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who just missed the playoffs here, but captured a win at Las Vegas. He is sitting right now in that 12th position, looking to make up some spots here in the early going. He's lost 1 so far, but is within striking distance of Chad Ginningsman and Darren Clement. He's got Christopher White coming up behind him as well, so just outside the top 10. These drivers starting to fight it off as the 17 of Ginningsman very loose out of turn 2 into 3 and 4 here onto this short stretch up into turn 5, where we saw so many of the real-life NASCAR drivers have issues over this weekend. And the 1 of Darren Clement starting to struggle and losing ground as he slams the barrier there. Here comes the 17 up behind him, gonna probably take that spot. No issues. The 1 just gonna hand these positions over. Obviously handling issues with that race car. The 11 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin gonna go straight up into the top 10 and bring Christopher White right on by Chad Ginningsman. With a 32 dives hard into the chicane here. They're gonna go inside by side. The 32 locks it up a little bit. The 11 as well. He misses the corner. He'll get a penalty, I'm sure, for that. Maybe not. As they continue on their way, Butcher Benjamin up into 10th. It looks like we've got a battle brewing here between Brandon Andrews and Ryan Strunk. We've got some cheering in the chat here. One for Frank Weinset, who did not take the field here, unfortunately. We've also got someone cheering on Alexander Pelican, who continues to lead, but it's not too far back to Chris James there. So they make their way onto the NASCAR oval. Alex Pelican, a 1.3 second gap headed through these set of turns. Let's keep an eye on Jonathan Hernandez. He's lost a couple spots here in the early going, but long ways to go in this race, and it's all about surviving to the end. And easy to make mistakes and destroy a car here at this track as he goes to the inside of Filip Radocic. Down into the back straightaway chicane here. The 19 overshoots it. That's going to allow Hernandez right back to the bumper. He's going to tuck underneath as they come back up onto the banking, but not going to have the run that he needs to get that pass made just yet. And good racing so far. We've got cheering for Cody Jordan, Codeman, number 37 here, as he rides in that 9th position in that Clorox Swiffer Kroger Chevy Camaro. Got all the cleaning products on there tonight, and he's looking for a clean top 10. And just up in front of him, we've got Daniel Hallis in 5th place. He's about 4 seconds back from Jacob Shorba, but the number 19 and the 88 are starting to close in on him, just under 3 seconds behind. But Hernandez still all over the back bumper of that number 19 machine. He's now on the inside through the NASCAR oval turns 1 and 2. And onto the back straightaway, the 19 still right there. We'll see if he peeks back out underneath. No, he backs off early with some right front damage, putting pressure on the 88 to force him into a mistake, and they both make it through nice and smooth. The 88 a little bit better through that set of corners. And we do have a comment here from Mark Brannigan, currently in that 8th position. He is starting to reel these two in that 52. As they head across the start-finish line here, down into turn number 1. Nice and smooth through there, under braking. 52 of Brannigan going through turn 2 now, setting his sights forward on Filip Radocic. turn 4 now, headed to turns 5 and 6. Difficult sequence of corners, so slick and somewhat off camber through there. As it looks like the 19 slamming a few cones there. He is definitely getting caught by Brannigan, but still a 1 second gap separating them. Meanwhile, Ryan Strunk here in 12th, starting to close in on Taylor Butcher Benjamin. This battle heating up as they make their way onto the NASCAR oval. And Strunk coming into tonight's race, currently 7th in the playoff points. Looking for a few here. He just needs a solid run, really, as he is 28 above the cut line. And I think where he's running right now, he's going to want to try and capture a few stage points. As he swings out wide, coming out of turn number 4 on the NASCAR oval, setting himself up nicely for this chicane, and he closes in significantly on Butcher Benjamin, running a great lap there, 0.3 faster. After he had lost some time at the first half of the lap. He is losing a bit here, but if he can continue to run that second half of the course as he has been, he will close up to the back bumper. Meanwhile, Chad Ginnigsman has lost touch with Strunk back here in 13th, and three-way battle for 14th, 15th, and 16th between Brandon Andrews, Darren Clement, and Tanner Thues here. The 42, big wiggle there, and Clement closing back in on that bumper. These two teammates, as the 42 slams that wall, that's going to cost him some time as he goes up the banking, allows the 1 and the 22 of Thues now to make their way on past. That's going to drop the 42 back to 16th position. And meanwhile, Alexander Pelican up in front, continuing to lead a whole second ahead of Chris James, but you see a little bit of a weakness there from the threes. He does have some left rear damage. Not sure how he got that. It's Chris James back here. That car looks clean. I don't think they've made any kind of contact. Right on board here with Chris James as they make their way through turns. Through the backstretch chicane. Back up onto the NASCAR oval banking here. He's still about a second back and losing time. Looks like Eric Wineland with a mistake there through the chicane. He totally blew it. And this new configuration has definitely caught a lot of drivers off guard. He couldn't make the corner, so he cut through. But that surrenders that position up to Jacob Shorba in that number 95 machine. The iRacing iFlag 95 out in front now, but these two, this battle is not over. It looks like Wineland within a half second of Jacob Shorba, and these two going to continue to battle it out as they are up near the top of the playoff standings coming into tonight's race. So it's all for glory here tonight, and really just a solid finish is necessary. Wineland coming in 3rd, Shorba coming in 2nd in points, and currently separated by 21 between the two, but both of them at least 59 above the cut line, so nice and secure in that. Take a look at Christopher White here, that number 32 machine. Comes in tied on the cut line with Jordan Brockle, and right now, Christopher White sitting 10th, Jordan Brockle sitting all the way back in 25th. He's 2 laps down. Brockle not having a good start to this event. His closest competitors in the points are Justin Carey, currently in this 21st position, the number 21 machine, so he's currently outscoring Brockle, at least in stage 1 here. Curtis Valenzuela did not start here tonight, so Valenzuela is going to lose out here. Potentially, he is 21 points above the cut line, so unless these guys score enough points here tonight to catch up, they, you know, they'll still be the ones on the bubble. Christopher White, though, up here in 10th position, so he's looking at earning a stage point, which would alone set him in front of Jordan Brockle. Also, Troy Sabat does not look like he made a start here, so he's going to be eliminated. Nicholas Starling is out here as well. He comes in 8 points below the cut line. He's currently running in 19th, so of all the drivers on the bubble, Starling and Christopher White running the best, but we hear somebody going around up here. Looks like Etcheper possibly, or Justin Boyles, not sure. Let's see if we find out what happened. Oh, 41 of Etcheper, big slide going through the set of corners there, 3 and 4, and that's going to allow his teammate to peak down low, but they stay in line here. Etcheper comes in 6th in the playoff standings, 33 above the cut line, so really just needs to finish tonight's race in some fashion. So he should be fairly secure. And up at the front, Alexander Pelican has broken away. Chris James now about 3 seconds back. And that battle is all over at the moment. You can see Luis Lopez in chat. He ran last night in the National Series, and he's rooting for Justin Boyles in that number 10 machine as he makes his way onto the front straightaway, start-finish line area to complete lap number 10. But we are closing in on the end of stage number 1. Alex Pelican currently heading to the end of lap 11. He sets his sights forward on lapping the number 21 of Justin Carey, who has lost a position now back to 22nd. And last driver on the lead lap, Jordan Brockle, back here 2 laps down. Probably not loving that, and he's going to have to take a wave around if he wants any shot at finishing on the lead lap here tonight. So we'll have to see what Brockle does. Meanwhile, Carey goes off track just a little bit into the grass, and you can see the leader, Alex Pelican, closing up behind, and Chris James as well in the picture. Able to run a bit faster than Pelican last lap, and he has cut that gap down from 3 seconds now to 2 seconds as the 21 just in front of the leader, Alex Pelican. And Pelican able to make his way on by there, no issues at all. We got Austin Rocks in chat. We finished P5 last night in the National Series. Good run for him there. And meanwhile tonight, Alex Pelican just building on his success from last week. I think he said he wasn't all that confident in his road course abilities, but these RCR machines doing a good job here tonight. We've got the 3 up here. The number 8 is not on track tonight, but Pelican running very, very well so far. Currently about 4 seconds ahead of Chris James, who made a mistake on that last lap. We are working on lap number 13 here. It's going to be the end of the stage after the end of next lap. So Pelican looking like he is well on his way to winning stage number 1 and adding more playoff points to his resume. And not really too many battles on track. Looks like Taylor Butcher Benjamin, though, handing over 12th spot to Tanner Thues. That position did just change hands, with Butcher Benjamin having a mistake on the chicane here on the back straightaway. Whoops. Went a little bit too far back there. But he was racing with the 22, and Thues had closed in the 11, maybe just a little too hot into the corner. We'll have to see here. No problems that I see there. Maybe just lost control. Oh yeah, big wiggle coming out of the corner. That opened up the door, and he just let the 22 on by. So they continue on their way. And at the front, Pelican taking the white flag for the stage, trying to capture a playoff point here early in this event, and just dominant so far like we saw last night. So Chris James in tow. He is now 2.5 seconds back. Closed the gap quite a bit there in this first half of this lap, but not really going to be in contention, I think, to grab that stage win. Still over 2 seconds behind. And he won last night in dominant fashion, so he's definitely a ringer at this place. Really knows how to get around here with a lot of practice. And just, he led every single lap last night, leading both of the stages and taking the victory, locking himself into round 2 of the Nationals playoffs. Meanwhile, Alex Pelican did that last week here in the Cup Series, and looking to add to his advantage as they make their way out of turn 4 in the NASCAR Oval, down to the chicane here on the front straightaway. He's putting pressure on the number 13 machine of James Jungerman. And he will capture the stage win here. Stage number 1 goes to Alex Pelican. The 13 going to let him on by and surrender the lead lap to him. He will get the point here as he hits the wall just in front of Chris James after the end of the stage. Trying to get back up through the gears, I think, and just hit a bump wrong and slams that pit road barrier. Meanwhile, Chris James finishing second in that stage. Jacob Shorba third. Eric Weinland fourth, Daniel Hallis in fifth, Jonathan Hernandez sixth, Philippe Radicic finishing seventh, Mark Brannigan eighth, Christopher White coming across the line here in ninth, and Ryan Strunk making his way out of the chicane and holding off Cody Jordan to take 10th position in the stage here. So all those drivers earning points, and winning the stage is Alex Pelican, leading every lap so far. So good job by the driver of the number 3 to capture stage number 1 here tonight. Pelican on a roll here this week and last week at Richmond. And that team has been working hard, doing a good job. And we'll be excited to see if he can take the victory here tonight. But before these guys get going on their pit stops, we're going to cut quickly to a commercial break, and we'll be right back. the field is making their way onto pit lane here. We've got Alex Pelican leading these drivers down the pit road here. Two drivers electing to stay out and potentially get a lap back. Oh, we got a car way over the curbs there. I'm not sure who that was. Trying to catch up to the rest of the pack, and everybody making their way into their boxes here. We'll see who wins the battle off of pit road. After the end of stage 1 here, Alex Pelican gets rolling. A little issue there with the getting the throttle down, getting it in gear, but he wins the battle off. Chris James, Jacob Shorba, Daniel Hallis, Jonathan Hernandez going to be the top 5 off of pit lane. So basically as it was there at the end of stage 1 is how these guys will get back into the running order. And we are going to pull up second place driver, I think, Chris James. See if he has a moment to talk with us here. That number 51 machine. Chris James, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do, Adam.
Well, Chris, you ran an incredible race here last night and absolutely dominated, but it looks like you're kind of on the back foot here with the number 3 machine out in front through stage 1. You think you got anything to go up there and run with him?
I made a couple pit stop changes there. We were fighting a pretty loose condition, so I might have pushed it a little too hard on that first stint. So the goal is to try to take care of the tires a little more, and we'll see what we got for him. But he's quick, that's for sure.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. You two were pretty close throughout the run, and I think your lap times, you kind of swap lap times. So, you know, if you can smooth it out here, I think you got enough to run up there with him. But are the track conditions any different here tonight than last night, or what's different about running these Cup cars versus the Xfinity cars?
It definitely drives completely different. My head was still kind of the B. That didn't help too much. It definitely started out hotter. It just feels looser to me. I don't know. It's fighting through the turns. I think I just need to back it down a little bit. We'll see how it goes.
10-4 on that. Looks like you guys are going to be going green here this time, so I'll let you go, and good luck with the rest of the race.
I appreciate it.
That was Chris James, second place driver in that number 51 machine. So we move him back down with his teammate Daniel Hallis, and those two, both those Rick Ware racing machines, up inside the top 5 as the field making their way back to the front stretch start-finish line. Alex Pelican, your leader. Green flag in the air, and the 3 machine gets him going. Single file restarts on this track. At least that's how they have it set up here tonight, and we'll bring up our ticker so you can follow along once again with the drivers through the field here. The 51, not a great set of corners there through turns 1 and 2. And Pelican out in front now by 3/4 of a second, and Shorba starting to put Chris James under pressure. 51 has damage, more damage than we had seen on that race car. All the left side really just pancaked in. And so I'm not sure exactly where that happened, but he definitely has made contact with the barrier at some point. We got a good battle back here. Chris Edgepair on the back bumper of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. They make their way onto the NASCAR oval. Edgepair just outside the top 10. He wants a playoff point here, or a stage point if he can get it. As they make their way down through the backstretch chicane. Gonna head up into NASCAR turns 3 and 4. And then back towards the front straightaway. Alex Pelican now in front by 1.3 seconds over Chris James, but Jacob Shorba within striking distance of Chris James, just 0.8 back, and Daniel Hallis not far behind in tow. Really, the top 5 have gotten a little bit away. Christopher White still hanging tough there, along with Mark Brannigan, so top 7 gotten away a little bit from Ryan Strunk in that 77 machine. Strunk here coming through turn 4 onto the short chute up to turn 5. He's got Tanner Thues not too far behind him. Thues has been moving forward here. since the end of stage 1. He was really moving forward there in those last couple laps and headed back up onto the NASCAR oval now. He is still just about 7/10 back of Strunk there. Everybody doing a great job here tonight. These guys running extremely well. No real major issues. We have had a couple little sets of contact throughout this race. Right now, Justin Boyle's making a big dive bomb move down into the chicane. He makes the corner somehow, but he's gonna lose a lot of time on the backside of that. He actually loses the spot. He gained +2 more with Eric Wineland now passing him and setting his sights on Nicholas Starling. Wineland, one of your playoff drivers, was up inside the top 10 at one point here. And Nicholas Starling, who's on the outside looking in, really needs a good run tonight. He has moved up a couple positions into 15th. Meanwhile, Jordan Brockle still 2 laps down at the moment. And this should be the number 2 car. It's showing as 24 right now, but he has had an issue. Nicholas Starling with a problem. A big wiggle there, and the 42 just drives on by, along with Justin Boyles actually completing that pass. So Boyles now into 16th, move Starling back to 19th as he gets passed by 2 more cars. Really not sure what happened to the 43 there, but just really struggling for grip, I think. And that allows Clement and Radicic to get right on past him, and Starling dropping to the bottom of the top 20 here. At the front, Pelican continues to lead. We're gonna get the end of the stage here on lap 28, and looks like Chris James starting to close back in now. They both ran about the same lap time there, a 1:18.1. And next closest car on track would be Shorba with a 1:18.7, and then Eric Wineland a 1:18.9. As we've got Cody Jordan maybe with an issue. I think he gave up that spot to Wineland. The 37, big wiggle there. And he was on the outside looking into the stage points there, finishing 11th in stage 1. We'll see if he can gain a couple here at the end of this, but it looks like he is struggling early with the handling on that race car tonight. No playoff implications for him here tonight, so really it's just about going out there and trying to win this thing. Same deal for Alex Pelican. He's already locked into round 2, but looking for more in terms of those playoff points. And Chris James giving him a run for his money here. 1 second back at the moment. As they head down through turn 1. James has closed in. He was about 3/10 faster that last lap. And these two, by far and away, the fastest cars on track. So not a surprise to see them out in front here. No real major mistakes, just minor damage to both race cars. And currently within a second and a half of each other. The 51 seems to struggle in this more technical intersection of the course, but maybe a bit faster on the straightaways and in the high bank corners. So he sets his sights forward on Pelican just over 1 second. He loses a bit of time getting back up onto the banking there. Now back down to 1.3 seconds back as he really charges the chicane here. Somehow slows that car up, and he gained a bit of time, but the 3 a really good exit from that chicane. We'll have to see what the split is here at the line. But these two really breaking away from Shorba back here in 3rd position. And then Jonathan Hernandez about a second and a half back from Shorba. He is doing a good job here tonight. He comes in your points leader. Jacob Shorba 2nd in points. Both those guys pretty much locked in here with the point system. The other driver locked in, Alex Pelican. up here in the lead as Chris James, big wiggle there coming through turn 4. Head down into 5 and 6 here. Then the left-hander turn 7. And turn number 8, which gets you back up onto NASCAR Oval turn 1 and 2. It's a complicated course here tonight, but if you're not familiar with it, this is the Charlotte ROVAL road course version of the NASCAR Oval. 17 turns, 2.28 miles. Located in Charlotte here. We are doing a 55-lap race. We're in stage 2 of 3. And just about 5 laps to go in this stage. So these guys doing a good job here tonight. No full course cautions on this track tonight. We had 20 last week at Richmond, and these guys are doing a really good job. And the cream of the crop really rising to the top here is Chris James starting to close in on Alex Pelican. Down through turns 3 and 4. You can hear the tires struggling for grip here tonight. We didn't really take a look at the weather, but 118-degree track temp, and that's definitely what's causing these guys to slip and slide tonight. It's about 5 degrees cooler than yesterday's race, but nonetheless, that is very hot. And now the 3 at Pelican losing time. 51 really struggling to put the power down up into the NASCAR banking. And to recap here tonight, we've had just the 1 stage caution. No lead changes as Alex Pelican has led the entire way. He's starting to close in on lap traffic. I'm not sure who that is. Looks like James Love in the 66 machine has lost his nose. Currently running in that 21st spot. He is quite a ways back, 1 minute and 16 seconds behind your leader. Justin Carey here. Looks like maybe an issue for Nicholas Starling. He continues to fall. He's still in that 19th spot, actually, but losing time hand over fist. James Jungerman also not having a great run out here tonight, but still up inside the top 20, actually gaining 6 spots from where he started. The car's pretty beat up. As Jungerman now, actually, let's take a look at Justin Carey, the 21 machine. He is a playoff contender here tonight. Currently sitting in that 22nd spot. Jordan Brockle in 24th now as he gets passed by Richard Springer. And Brockle came in tied for the cut line position. Christopher White was tied with him. Christopher White up in 6th position, really having a great run here tonight, and he ran pretty well last week at Richmond. I think had a few issues though in the closing laps with the incidents that we had over there. But he's making the most of tonight's race. The smaller field, he started 19th. He's up to 6th though, so obviously fast race car. Big wiggle out of the chicane there, but able to hang on to it. Looks like Justin Boyles, one of our playoff drivers, also going up against Brandon Andrews. Head-to-head right now. This is for 15th and 16th. Andrews has it, and Boyles wants it, but not going to be able to do it just yet, as he is now under pressure once again from Nicholas Starling, who's made a resurgence now, up 2 spots in the last lap. It looks like Tanner Thues maybe making an issue or having a problem there. He ran a 1:47, so about 20 seconds or more off the pace of a standard lap here. So obviously went around at some point and dropped all the way back here to 18th position. Tanner Thues was up in the top 10. Now back here. And he's going to be fighting to stay on the lead lap, I think, by the end of this stage. Currently almost a minute behind your leaders. And Alex Pelican started to stretch back away from Chris James. It's actually a second. The difference at 24 misses the chicane, and he's going to come to a complete stop there. But really, it's a show between the top 2, and they are just dominating it here tonight. Last night's winner, Chris James, who led every lap there, is learning what it feels like to have a car out in front just dominating a race, but he has not let him get too far away. Just about 2 seconds up the road. 51 still struggling with grip here on the longer run. You hear how much off throttle time he's got here, just can't put the power down. And when he does the back end, you can hear it slide just a bit there. So Chris James doing a good job in this second position, and definitely one of the favorites to win here tonight. Between him and Pelican, they've absolutely run away with this. And we're coming to the white flag in the stage next time by, but before we do so, we can let you, we can inform you that you can get your own iRacing Fantasy Cup Series merch right over on the VSpeed website, and it's vspeedsim.com/shop. You can head on over there. The first 25 to use code FANTASY5 will save $5 on your purchase of $10 or more. A portion of each sale of either the hat or the t-shirt contributes directly to the league here, helps them continue with their activities throughout the week. So head on over to VSpeed Sim, check them out. And you can also use that code on any other purchase in the store if you want some VSpeed gear as well. Also want to give a shout out to our sponsor here tonight, Alpha Ornamental Metals. Located in Chesterfield, Virginia, they solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron. Also home of the Streamline Railing. You can check them out on Facebook, and we will put their information in the chat here so you can go check them out. But we're going to cut back to the racing action. Alex Pelican now out in front by over 2 seconds. And Chris James not closing in, but the 3 has to make his way around the 14 of Richard Springer and put him another lap down. Justin Carey, that 21 machine, now a lap down. And his car looks clean, just maybe not the speed that he was hoping for here tonight. He's trying to stay at just 1 lap down. You can see the cars making their way through the chicane just out in front of Pelican, but he is he's got clear racetrack for now, and coming to the green checkered flag here. So we have Rudate and chat cheering on Mr. Pelican once again here tonight, and he has just run a spectacular race to this point and is going to capture the win in stage number 2. That 3 machine on a rail here tonight as he takes the stage. Chris James in second. Jacob Shorba coming up here in that 3rd position. Jonathan Hernandez going to follow him through for 4th. Daniel Hallis, another Rick Ware racing machine. Both of them inside the top 5. He's going to come home 5th in the stage. Christopher White earning solid points. He needed those. Going to finish 6th. Mark Brannigan coming through in 7th. Ryan Strunk 8th. Chris Etcheper making his way out of the final chicane in that 9th position. And Cody Jordan all the way back here, just coming up to the chicane. He's going to finish a 10th position in the stage, and that is going to do it here for stage number 2. Great run by these guys once again, and Alex Pelican, flawless race so far. He captures stage 1 and stage 2 after winning last week at Richmond. He looks like he might be going for a repeat at the ROVAL tonight. And if you're just joining us here, this is the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series, race number 3 in the playoffs, round number 1. And the drivers came into tonight's race with the standings looking like this. And Alex Pelican, who is dominating tonight's race, he's currently in that 4th position, locked into round 2 with his win last week. Drivers to keep an eye on, we've got Jordan Brockle, multiple laps down here. He is currently 5 laps down. I think he might be done tonight, actually. He's on the cut line, and Christopher White, who just finished 6th in the stage, came in tied with him. Troy Sabat did not start here. Nicholas Starling currently running in the 15th position. He needs a good run here. He needs really a top 10 by the end of this to have any chance. But Curtis Valenzuela up there in 10th position did not start the race. Justin Carey currently sitting at 19th on track, 1 lap down, and he'll get the lucky dog, but not the points tonight that he probably was looking for, just 3 points above the cut line. And also Brandon Andrews, he's out here running 18th. He's 21 above the cut line, so pretty safe there. Brian Pizzacchemi did not make a start here tonight, so could be close for him. Ryan Strunk is out here in 8th position. Chris Etcheper up there, fairly safe, 33 points up above the cut line with Justin Boyles. And Boyles finished 14th in that stage, Etcheper finishing 9th. So all those drivers doing a good job at holding on to whatever points they need to make it to the next round in what is definitely a challenging cutoff race, and could lead to a few drivers missing round number 2 here tonight. So as these drivers make their way onto the back straightaway to head through the chicane here and eventually make their pit stops. We want to give a shout out to Shorba's iRacing Paints, one of the sponsors of the league here. If you're looking for your own custom, professionally made paint scheme, you can head on over to Shorba's iRacing Paints on Facebook. We just put the link there in the chat so you can get your own custom scheme. And a lot of the cars on track tonight are running schemes made by Jacob, and he does them for a very affordable price, and they come out looking great like you see on the screen here. So head on over there and send Jacob a message, see if he can get you hooked up. Field making their way onto pit lane now. Alex Pelican leading them down. We'll see if anybody elects to try and take a wave around. I think Justin Carey, he's gonna get the lucky dog. He actually comes onto pit road. I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna do for that. You see the number 12 of Eric Wineland electing to stay out here. Interesting move by Wineland, who actually pitted during that stage. So he pitted 6 laps ago to try and regain his track position. I think he had made a mistake during the pit cycle after stage 1. So this throws a huge wrench in the plans here of some of these other drivers. Also Tanner Thues, similar strategy. Stays out in second. Chris James wins the battle off pit road, so he'll get a jump on Alex Pelican, who has led so much of this race. And a little bit of a shakeup here at the front, so could get very interesting. And I think the field is going to get the green flag this time by, so we're not going to really have much time to interview anyone. But we will fill you in on what you're watching here tonight. It is the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series live on V-Speed. Tonight we're live on Twitch. We also go live on YouTube for the Ford Entertainment Group iRacing Flea Market Series on Mondays. So check us out over there. We also post race replays from the Twitch broadcast on YouTube. If you missed some of the action from earlier in the season, you can head on over there. Subscribe to us on that platform, and also stay notified as to when we upload those replays. Also, you can check us out on Facebook, where we announce each and every race that we broadcast throughout the week, and also on Twitter and Instagram at VSpeedSim. You can check us out on those platforms where we post event announcements as well as special events. So just head on over there, check us out on those platforms, stay up to date with what VSpeed's doing. We'd really appreciate your support, along with the support you're giving us here tonight. We really appreciate that as well. And if you are enjoying the broadcast, you can consider subscribing or following. Every little bit helps us. And I believe subscriptions are on sale for half off to the end of the month here. So you can support V-Speed using either your Prime sub, or for $2.50, the half price sub this month, you can get an exclusive emote and be a premier member of the V-Speed fan base. Right now, Eric Wineland looking to try and get something done here in stage 3, and really just shaking up what we thought was going to be a pretty straightforward end of the race here. But Wineland going to get the restart, as we see at 21 make his way onto pit road. Justin Carey, not sure what happened there, maybe penalty for coming in. But either way, Eric Wineland gets us going back under green at the ROVAL. Great jump by him. Tanner Thues, distant second here. He's under pressure from Chris James, and This is going to be a much longer run than we saw from the first 2 stages, almost twice the length. And we'll have to see who has the speed on the long run as the 3 of Pelican to the outside of Chris James, and James now to the inside of Thus. This is the battle for second place as Eric Wineland now 2.7 seconds ahead, just absolutely running away. And the 22 struggling here on the older tires, the 95 of Shorba and the 53 of Hallis making it their way around. And Hernandez is in tow. He's going to drive right on by with them, I think. Maybe out of the exit of the chicane. But meanwhile, Eric Wineland out in front. If you haven't already, since we're past the halfway point, please comment in chat who you think is going to win tonight's race, or your favorite driver, and we'll follow along with them throughout the final stint here. But Eric Wineland's out in front, 2.2 seconds ahead of Chris James, who's trying to hold off a hard-charging Alex Pelican. The 51 really charging this corner. Enters tight a little bit over those rumble strips there. Able to hang on to the spot, but they are a ways back from Wineland, 1.9 seconds. So they are closing just a little bit. 51 doing a good job here. He has not been in front of Pelican for the majority of this race, so trying to find where the 3's weaknesses are and figure out where he's strong, but the 3 is all over him. And 51 a little bit wide there. That's going to open up the door for Pelican. They're side by side. The 51 going to throw a block here. The 3 has to back out of it, but he undercuts him now, coming onto the banking. They're side by side through NASCAR turn 2. And the 51's going to lose out on that battle. The 3, the shorter distance, he's going to drive right on past, and we'll see if Chris James can reel him back in. They've been fairly even for the first 5 to 10 laps of a run. The 3 a minor advantage. But it looks like 51 of James not happy with that race car, is now Pelican stretching away from him almost a full second already, and Eric Wineland up here in the lead, continuing, but he sees that 3, that dark black Jack 3 Camaro on its way forward and closing the gap rapidly. That was a whole second gone that lap. Wineland just trying to hang on. Oh, he gets real loose into the barrier, up onto 2 wheels, able to hang on to it now, though, keeps the car moving forward, and Chris James is going to be behind him. The 12 is going to have heavy damage, and Alex Pelican once again taking over that top spot. And so the battle's on for second as Wineland with a damaged race car going to have to fight off Chris James, who's been second best all race. And Eric Wineland's bold strategy here. He needed some points and was probably just looking for a Hail Mary. Or he didn't need the points, but looking for a Hail Mary to possibly, get a solid finish here to contend for a win. He was way back in the pack after, I think, an early mistake, or a different strategy at least, put him back there. Chris James goes right on by, and now Jacob Shorba setting his sights forward on the number 12 machine. Thank you for the follow, Dash for Cash. Appreciate the support here tonight. Hope you're enjoying the race so far, as Jacob Shorba was peeking to the inside of Chris James now. James with an issue allowed Wineland to get right back on by, and now it's a stack up from 3rd back to about 7th, or I'm sorry, 6th with Jonathan Hernandez, and then Christopher White. A solid run continues here. He's in 7th position. He's doing a good job here tonight. This race flying by. We're already on lap 35 out of 55. And Tanner Thus, who restarted on old tires, he's battling side by side with Chris Etcheper, one of our playoff drivers. And then Thus just filling in here tonight. Gonna give up that spot on 6-lap older tires. It's probably not gonna work out in any scenario there, but meanwhile, a little farther back, we've got Nicholas Starling in the 43 machine in 17th position. He's got damage on the right side of that race car. And he's one of the drivers below the cutoff that is looking for a good run here, and he has not had quite the run that he needs Really needs to get a top 10 before this thing's said and done. Brandon Andrews up here in 15th, now under pressure from Justin Boyles. And both of these drivers fairly safe in the standings, but you want to get as many points as possible to just ensure you are safe. Wow, Justin Carey, also driver in the playoffs. He came in just 3 points above the cut line, and now he's riding 18th, 1 lap down, not in a good spot. He's quite a ways back. I believe your leader's not too far. They're still a ways back from him, but quite a ways down. Also, Jordan Brockle came in on the cut line. He overshoots that last chicane. Has to slow that race car down, and Brockle with some issues here. He's 5 laps down. Most likely at this rate going to be eliminated. That being said, Curtis Valenzuela did not start the race, so it's going to be very close at the cut line if Brockle finishes around where he's running now. So we will have to wait and see. Meanwhile, at the front, Alex Pelican out in front. I don't know what happened to the 12 and the 51. They lost a ton of time. I'm going to see if I can find out what happened here. Possibly back a little ways. I'm trying to find out. This is a little bit too far back. We see Eric Wineland making his way onto pit road. Chris James up here, he's got a little bit more damage. He's 11.6 seconds back. I'm gonna see if I can go back and find what happened to him. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. The 12 of Wineland and the 51 getting together big time there. The 12, I think, lost it. No, 51 of James drove down to the inside, and that pretty much blocked the track. Everybody to make it through, except Jonathan Hernandez, who got a bit of nose damage on that. He dropped all the way back to 8th position. Sorry it took us so long to find that. It was just, we missed it while we were looking farther back through the field. Meanwhile, Alexander Pelican, nobody in sight in either direction. He is 10 seconds up the road from Jacob Shorba, who has found his way into that second spot. Battling with Daniel Hallis now. This is for second and third. And the Rick Ware Racing Machine still both in the top 5, even with James making that mistake. He's trying to recover here. He has been the second fastest car all race, and we'll see if he can get back up there. Big wiggle from the 51. Going down through turn 2, he's got that thing back underneath him, but obviously struggling in stage 3. And he's just filling in here tonight and probably a little bit frustrated knowing that he had the speed yesterday and the car exactly where he wanted it to be. Just doesn't have it quite where he wants tonight. But still going to be a solid run for him here regardless of how this all happens. And we still have quite a ways to go, so Alexander Pelican can make a mistake. He just hasn't made it yet tonight. She's been very smooth. That RCR machine, just incredibly fast. Another car we want to keep our eye on, the 52 of Mark Brannigan in that Ford Mustang. He is starting to close in on Ryan Strunk, the 77 locking it up into that chicane and really struggling to get back on the throttle. Brannigan starting to close that gap up inch by inch as he slides a little bit through the chicane, trying to get the power back down now. The gap is 3/4 of a second. But I think Brannigan has been a bit faster than his position would say. He's been running a good race here tonight. And another driver who's recovered a little bit, Tanner Thues. He's up to 8th after those few drivers took it to pit road. And that promotes Cody Jordan up into the 9th position, as well as Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 10th position. Oh, is Butcher Benjamin, big wiggle out of the corner. We saw him getting loose. But he continues on his way. Meanwhile, playoff driver Chris Etchper here in 12th position. He's out in front of Jonathan Hernandez, who came in your points leader and now back to 17th. And 1 lap down, he's not going to really have a chance to get back on the lead lap unless the leaders have to make a pit stop here. But the 88, that car hurt, as you can see it just rolling over on itself. The suspension damaged and the speed definitely removed from that race car. But that moves Justin Boyles up here to 10th. He comes out of pit road now. And I think he goes a lap down. We'll have to see. He might be just in front of your leader, Alex Pelican. That is the case. Justin Carey came in just 3 points above the cut line and really needs a solid run. He's in 18th now, I'm sorry, Justin Boyles is in a safe spot, so this won't really hurt him too bad. But a few drivers who needed good runs: Justin Carey, Jordan Brockle. Brockle now on pit road, maybe done for the night. Nicholas Starling now up to 14th, so he is closing in on what he needs to do here to potentially make it in this round number 2 of the playoffs. And at the front, Alex Pelican just still putting on a clinic here, 9.5 seconds up the road, but Jacob Shorba starting to match his times. Just such a large gap to try and make up. I don't think it's going to be possible without a few mistakes from Pelican. Brannigan still within fighting distance of the 77, but not close enough to make the move just yet. And everybody else on track separated by at least a 1.5 seconds. So this is really the battle that we're going to try and keep our eyes on. The 52 now back to a whole second behind as we work on to lap number 40 here in tonight's race. We're actually going to go to a green flag side-by-side, and we'll be right back. Back, a few battles starting to brew as we took that step away. Ryan Strunk now closing in on the back bumper of Christopher White. Christopher White moving up into that 5th position. Really good run for the 32 tonight, and he's looking like he's going to lock himself into round 2 of the playoffs with his run here if he can continue this. Meanwhile, Strunk was closing in. He's not able to keep pace with him. Chris Etchepare closing in on Cody Jordan. Just lost a bit of time there. So as soon as the battle started, they're kind of dissolving. Etchepare just outside the top 10, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin under fire from Jordan. So 3 cars within 3 seconds of each other. And these guys are probably going to start to close up as the race continues, but we are getting close to 10 to go. We'll have to see if these guys can get some racing going here. I think everybody pretty well strung here though. Once again, closing back in on Christopher White, but just does not have the pace down the straightaways to keep up with the 32 machine. He loses a few tenths. Now actually closing in this time. Big run into the chicane. Really hard on the brakes. He's a little bit hot into that turn. He's going to lose time on exit. As he tries getting back up to speed. He did lose quite a bit there. He closed about 3 tenths and then lost about 4 tenths on exit. So net loss for him there, but he's still under a second back. And this is a battle that's waiting to happen. Oh, the 32 with a mistake there. Not sure exactly what he did. I was kind of looking at the scoring, but let's go back just a second here. Oh, he kind of blew it on the exit of the getting on the curb there, getting out of that chicane. The 77 now down low, and the 32 locked it up a bit going into turn 1, so they exchanged positions. That's 5th and 6th. Strunk now inside the top 5, and he's got a good run going as well tonight. And now these 3 stacking up once again as Brannigan closing into the picture. Some good racing here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin goes around in turn 4 here. Just maybe an issue. His wheel was turned hard right, but he couldn't slow down. So maybe technical problem there. Not sure what happened. But he drops out of the top 10 as Chris Etcheper able to slide on by along with Cody Jordan. And Cody Jordan under heavy fire. The 41 up high. The 37 is just going to say, go ahead and take it. I don't want to challenge you. Cody Jordan not running for the playoffs here, and the 41 is, so not going to get in the way. Meanwhile, Jacob Shorba in second. It looks like Chris James was able to take over third from Daniel Hallis. And Chris James now about 4.5 seconds back from Shorba. Shorba about 10 seconds back from Pelican. So no real challenges right now for the top 3. But Daniel Hallis still just a little over a second behind Chris James. So we'll see if that battle heats up here at some point. But this battle is starting to get interesting just at the tail end of the top 5, and outside of it, Strunk under pressure, heavy pressure from Christopher White, who wants that spot back to 77, locking it up big time. He goes for a long slide, able to catch that car, but he loses a ton of time as he starts getting it back up to speed. Brannigan's going to take that spot away, and he's looking for more, trying to get inside the top 5 as he looks down low, has to back out of it. And the 32 hangs on to the spot through the chicane. The 52 losing a bit of ground there coming out of it, so not quite the speed just yet, but he has been quick all night, and these two very evenly matched, I think, so it should be a good one as we close in. Now 10 to go. Alex Pelican making his way through the infield section here, back up onto the NASCAR oval. We are on 10 to go. Shorba has to gain a second a lap at this point, and he did just gain a 10th there, but that's not nearly enough. So looking like, unless Pelican makes a drastic mistake, this race is not going to change hands, at least in the top 2 spots. Chris James losing a bit of time to Shorba now. 5.5 seconds, almost 6 seconds back, and Daniel Hallis starting to close in now, half a second back. They head up over the turtles there at 51. Up high at 53, cuts down low through that banking. And he's going to try and challenge his teammate there, the Rick Ware Racing Machines, running 3rd and 4th. Great races by both of them. Daniel Hallis who was out here watching last night, obviously learned a little bit as he gets underneath his teammate and going to take that spot away. Daniel Hallis up to third. Chris James struggling to put the power down. He goes back to fourth position. And so those positions change hands, but I think it's going to be a competition between the two of them. Who's the better teammate tonight? The 53 now has that spot. This is the first time I think he's really been in front of the 51. As Chris James was running second through the first 2 stages, but has since kind of lost hold of that race car in stage number 3. Meanwhile, Brannigan losing a bit of ground still to Christopher White. So 52 not able to challenge him at the moment. And Eric Wineland may be an issue there, not exactly sure, but he goes 2 laps down now after that spin earlier with Chris James. But Wineland pretty well secure in his playoff position, and really no chance at all of him to drop out. So he's going to take what he can get here for the remainder of this race, try and run it out. Also, Jonathan Hernandez, your points leader, has had an interesting third stage here as he was up in the top 5 the first 2 stages and got caught up in that melee between James and Wineland. He's just out in front of a few other cars here. We're getting ready to battle. And Ryan Strunk now in 7th position after that mistake he made coming up onto the oval turn 2. And he is 5 seconds back from Brannigan, who's closed in significantly on Chris White, but through turns 3 and 4, he loses a bit of ground there, just not quite as aggressive as the 32. And 32, big wiggle there. Brannigan gonna try and close back in again as Christopher White starting to struggle, maybe overdid it through the infield section. But that gap remains about 0.6 of a second between them. They head to the back straightaway now, going down into the chicane here. They've been so evenly matched. Oh, and the positions have swapped once again up here between teammates for 3rd and 4th. Hallis back to 4th. Christopher White, or I'm sorry, Chris James up into 3rd. So Chris James gonna see if he can make anything happen here. It looks like fastest car on the track is Jacob Shorba, but it's a little bit too late here as we're going to be coming to 6 to go next time by. He is still 10 seconds back, and I think he just lost whatever time he may have gained over the last couple laps. He was a half second faster the last lap, but this section here, and I think he lost about a second to your leader, Alex Pelican, who's just been absolutely dominant, leading 45 now out of the 48 laps that have been run. The only other laps going to Eric Wineland, I believe. He's led 3 laps here through the pit cycle. So that number 3 machine looking very strong for the 2nd week in a row. He dominated last week, really untouchable, except for his teammate being right behind him. Those were the fastest cars on track, and then again tonight, just pretty much untouchable. But he had a bad lap there, and Shorba able to close back in about another second. So the gap now down to 8.6. We'll have to see if anything happens here. Pelican making an uncharacteristic mistake. He does have a bit of damage on the right front. I don't know where that occurred. Possibly through this infield section, but the 3 machine showing a little hint of weakness as the 14 of Richard Springer off into the grass. He gets it going once again, but that car 4 laps down. He is not in contention to even get a top 10 here. So he's just going to try and run this thing out. But Alex Pelican sees his gap slowly closing and coming up to 5 to go. It is still possible if he makes 1 or 2 mistakes like he made the previous lap, and Jacob Shorba can stay on his A game here. It is still within reach, but 9 seconds now as he comes out of the chicane there on the back straightaway. It's really going to be a tough ask for the 95 to close in as we see the 42 of Brandon Andrews with issues on the front straightaway. As he's getting back up to speed now. 13th position. He's last driver on the lead lap. Oh, big slide into turn 1, and he tags the outside barrier there. He's about to go a lap down with the number 3 machine starting to bear down on him. Brandon Andrews, not the run he probably wanted here tonight, but he is fairly safe in the playoffs, 21 points above the cut line. And with the 13th place finish, he is doing quite a bit better than his competitors in that space. So the 3 machine gonna have to figure out a way around him. We'll see if Andrews gives him any kind of trouble here, but 42 just does not have the speed from what I've seen, as I think he's just gonna let the 3 by. Yes, he does. And there goes Pelican right on by. Jacob Shoreby actually losing time. Now 9.5 seconds back of your leader, Pelican. Daniel Hallis has reclaimed 3rd place. This battle is the most exciting on track between teammates as, oh, Chris James, big slide coming up on the banking there. And this is looking back at Chris James. Daniel Hallis has this 3rd spot. They've swapped it 2 or 3 times now. And I think that 51, oh, big charge. It looks like the 53 makes a mistake into the chicane. Yeah, just locked it up, and that's gonna swap hands once again. And I think Hallis maybe gonna be out of touch with his teammate. Yeah, quite a ways back, almost 3. Make that 4 seconds back. Chris James now up into the 3rd spot with really no contest around him. And Mark Brannigan still about 1 second back from Christopher White. Those two running very even times. 52 closes in once again here, and they have Jonathan Hernandez coming up behind them, that number 88 machine. But he is 1 lap down. He's got fresh tires as well, or fresher tires, so he's going to be a bit faster, as he was up there in the top 5 racing it out with these guys. Chris Etcheper back here in 9th position, trying to chase down Tanner Thus. He's about a second behind him at the moment. But nothing really happening there for now. We are on 4 to go, so this race is winding down pretty quickly here. And the challenges between these guys, not real close, although Mark Brannigan's starting to close that gap. A little wiggle coming up on the banking, but able to get the power down. And if you're not familiar with the Charlotte Roval, here's the diagram of the track. We've got a 17 turn course layout here, 2.28 miles. Tonight's race is 55 laps. We're on 3 to go now as Alex Pelican crosses the start-finish line. And he's actually already down through turns 3 and 4, so Pelican just absolutely running away with it here tonight. But the Charlotte Roval, interesting configuration of the NASCAR Oval here. They have the infield course for these Cup cars, and a brand new addition to the Cup lineup in real life last year. So pretty cool track. They reconfigured the chicane on the back straightaway. We'll ride along with Alexander Pelican to get the in-car view of what that looks like as Pelican now heads down into the chicane. This car has been so good through here, as everybody else really struggling to slow the car down and then get on the exit of the corner the way you should. But pretty fun race here so far, and Alex Pelican has been out front for the majority, all but 3 laps to this point. Looking for his 2nd win in a row in the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series. And he would double lock his way into the playoffs for round 2. As Justin Boyle's problems on that race car. That car, I think, has some structural issues. It's pretty bent, but he's still running in 16th now, 2 laps down. So no issues there with him continuing on his way. He is pretty well secure in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Chad Ginningsman starting to close in on Cody Jordan. As they make their way through turns 1 and 2 of the NASCAR Oval. That's Sharpie, number 17. looking sharp out here. And Ginningsman back 2 spots from where he started, but that car is one of the cleanest on track, and definitely something that Ginningsman is known for here in the Nationals and the Cup Series, keeping that machine together and clean and making his way towards the front at the end of the race. He had a solid run last night, was able to capture, I believe, 15th position. He's doing a little bit better here as he wiggles a little bit and kind of jumps over the curb there. Gonna have to surrender some time, and he's the last car on the lead lap, and the leader starting to bear down on him. About 10 seconds back. Well, Chris James back here in 3rd. He's still 2.8 seconds up on his teammate. And that's the gap back there, as we are now on the final lap of the race. Alex Pelican taking the white flag. We totally missed out on that with jumping through and checking out all these other competitors. The battle for 5th starting to heat up, though. Christopher White, Mark Brannigan, they're going to have 1 lap to settle this. Brannigan is right there, under 0.4 of a second, really just a couple car lengths. They head down into turn 1, the 52 hard on the brakes, a little wiggle under braking. He's able to get it straight and close in on the 32. He's gonna have to push it here through this infield section where he's lost so much time, especially these 2 corners. The 52 has just not had the speed of the 32. He's gonna have to really get on the throttle here. Keeps that gap down to 0.3. They make their way into turns 5 and 6. The 52 is right on the bumper. Alex Pelican making his way through the oval section, turns 3 and 4. 10 seconds up on Jacob Shorba. Alex Pelican looking for win number 2 in a row, and he's gonna do it at the ROVAL. Congratulations to Alex Pelican, but the battle for 5th and 6th is on. Mark Brannigan here trying to chase down the 32 as they make their way onto the backstretch chicane. The 52 dives in, 32 on the outside. Oh, they get together. The 32 turns him, and that's going to end that battle as soon as it started. The 32 trying to get back up to speed. He's going to finish in that 5th spot unless he makes a crucial error going into the final set of corners here. Mark Brannigan, heartbreak there to try and get a top 5, but solid run for the 52 as he finishes in the 6th position, and something to be proud of there. He gave it his all on this last lap and just didn't come up on the right side of things. Meanwhile, Chris Etcheper here starting to close in on Tanner Thues. Is he going to make a move here in the final chicane? Not able to get close enough, and he will finish in the 9th spot, but everybody else at least a second or 2 between each others. But Alex Pelican is going to come home your winner here tonight. Congratulations to Alex Pelican, win number 2 in a row. And he is on a roll here in the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series. Just absolutely dominant 2 weeks in a row. Meanwhile, Jacob Shorba finishing in 2nd. Really solid run for him. And he needed a confidence booster after the last couple weeks have not quite gone his way. Comes home 2nd here. And he was even talking about maybe not running because he wasn't feeling good about how the car was going to perform tonight. So Alex Pelican, your winner here tonight. So congratulations to Alex Pelican. We're going to cut quickly to a commercial break. We'll be right back with our post-race interviews. And we are back. We're going to be bringing up our race winner here tonight. Alex Pelican, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Alex, it's 2 in a row for you here in round number 1. You're locked into round number 2, and with 2 wins in a row, how confident are you going into next week?
Dover's never really been a place, that I've been decent at. But I told you last week that I was just going to work on week to week, and it seemed to work out pretty well. So I think we're just going to keep the same strategy.
Yeah, you ran a heck of a race here tonight. Really dominant, leading 52 of the 55 laps. And what were you doing differently out there that you were able to separate yourself throughout the race?
I was just trying to be consistent, not spin the rear tires, and just basically take care of it.
And take care of it you did. The car has a little bit of a roughness around the edges, but it looks good overall, and great looking paint scheme, by the way. And you were definitely the fastest out there throughout the race, and we saw others struggling with grip because of the hot temperatures, but were you feeling that, the heat on the track at any point tonight?
Definitely. There was basically coming off the corner, you just had to either quarter throttle or half throttle. You could never just lay right into it. And
yeah, it was a struggle, and some of these turns here are even off camber and very difficult. It's a very technical course in certain parts, but the new chicane on the backstretch, was that something that you thought was different or was difficult here tonight?
Definitely difficult, because if you just miss, not even 2 inches, it can be devastating.
Yeah, and we followed you through there. It looked like you were running about as smooth as could possibly be, and the car was handling exactly how you wanted to, which definitely key out here to race the track with a good race car rather than race your competitors. And you were able to do that. And were you concerned about the number 12 of Wineland being out there on old tires at the beginning of stage number 3, or were you confident you could get right on by?
Kind of a little bit scared a little bit, because Chris in the 51 came out of the pits in front of me, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to get around him and the guy that stayed out, so that made it a little hairy.
Yeah, and you worked your way around Chris. That was a great battle between you two. Really, the 2 fastest cars on track through most of the race tonight. And then the 12 there, he made a few mistakes. Eventually, those guys got together behind you. And you had a huge gap there to really, pad your lead on. So, great run for you here tonight. And anything else you want to say about tonight's race that you felt like went well or was a good event?
I think it was overall a good event. We didn't really eyeball. I guess I didn't really see many of them, but if there were cautions, or not cautions, but wrecks, basically got them cleaned up and got them rolling again, and didn't really seem to happen again after that. The same people twice, so.
Yes, sir. It was a pretty fun race. You guys eventually got fairly spread out, and you obviously dominant with a nearly 10-second lead at the end. You come away with the victory, starting on the pole, leading 52 laps. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for tonight's win?
I'd like to thank Shorba iRacing paints for the, paint on my car is done. I know he does his, and a couple other guys throughout the league, and he's really fair on pricing. And Rapid Fired Pizza for sponsoring the league, and Alpha Ornamental Metals for also sponsoring the league. They allow us to do.
Yes, sir, and congratulations once again here tonight. Thanks for putting on a good show for us, and go celebrate, and we'll catch up with you at the Monster Mile next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was your winner here tonight, Alex Pelican. We're going to go to second place finisher, Jacob Shorba. Jacob Shorba, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you, Adam.
Well, Jacob, you came up second best here tonight. You were up inside the top 5 all race, but How was the car for you overall here tonight?
It was pretty good. You know, like for the conditions, I can't really complain. If there was anything that was a problem, it was probably me and the amount of practice we put in. I wish we had more, but overall, not really any problems with the car tonight.
Yeah, you ran pretty smooth out there, and I was surprised to see when you got by Chris James, but it looked like him and the 12 got together, and after that, there was really no contest. You were the second fastest car on the track at that point. So did you find something there in the last stage that helped you out or smoothed things out for you?
Yeah, we definitely started getting the track down a lot more. I don't know what the track temp was at the time. Actually, checking back, it's quite a bit lower. I mean, it's like 106 now. So that definitely helped, but we were really hitting our marks. And part of me believes maybe Alex was kind of giving a little bit there just to make sure nothing happens. But regardless, it means a lot to be able to keep up with him. We wish we didn't have to be held up by the wreck, and honestly, just kind of saw that coming with the car staying out on old tires and how fast some of these guys were trying to get there. But that's about all I got to say for that.
Yep. And you held on for a nice solid second place run. You came into the race second in points, and you're going to advance here into round number 2. So what are your thoughts on heading out to the Monster Mile next week?
I'm excited. We're definitely going to put in a lot of work, and with our performances recently, we really think we could go out there and win that. We're going to do everything we can for sure. This week we didn't put in as much as we normally do, just knowing that, when we go into a track like this and we're locked in, all that matters is winning. So we could have finished second, we could have finished 25th. The only difference is an interview in the end, and it just, we had to win to do anything. So next week we'll be putting in a lot more time, a lot of practice, and I'm excited because I think it's going to be a little more of a driver's track and not pack racing as much, hopefully.
Yeah, it should be a good one. That's definitely one of the more difficult courses or tracks on the schedule, and you have had quite good speed here in the last few weeks, and this is really the first result that you've had to show for it. So congratulations on the second place run, and before we let you go to celebrate, anything you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I got a few. So for this series, obviously, we got our two main sponsors, Ornamental Metals and Rapid Fired Pizza. They came in. They were the first people to talk to us about sponsorship. We appreciate that a lot. Really happy with where we're going with some of them and what our plans are for next year. Other than that, I guess Shorba's iRacing paints. Like I said the last time I was here, I run that, but we do put in a lot of work for this league. And other than that, iRacing iFlag, of course, that's the big one, giving us a sponsorship on our car. We're just really appreciative for that, and happy the race they watched was Indianapolis. That helped out a lot. But definitely check out their stuff. I know they got something new coming out soon, so we'll see what happens there. But if you want to shave some money, use the code JacobShorba95. I'll try to put it in the chat if anyone wants to get anything from them. But really appreciate all these people, and can't do without them. Of course, you guys as well. We honestly think you guys are the best out there. Every week you're always adding more and getting better. I mean, we don't even think you can get better, and it happens. So, we appreciate it a lot.
I appreciate the kind words there, Jacob, and we love being out here and helping you guys out and putting on these great races for the fans to watch. So thanks for giving us a show here tonight, and congratulations on the second place, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. That was second place finisher Jacob Shorba. We're going to go to third place. Let's see if we can find Chris James' car on track. Third place finisher Chris James. This is Adam, the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy, Adam.
Well, Chris, it didn't go quite your way there in the final stage, but you did get out in front of the number 3. Do you think you were going to be able to have any shot to hold him off, or had the car kind of gotten away from you there?
No, I didn't have anything for the 3. He was just hitting his marks all night. Had a great car, and I just made too many mental errors.
Yeah, we saw you get into the 12 there a little bit, and then you had a great battle with your teammate, Daniel Hallis, and you came out on top of that. But how much fun was it out there racing back and forth the two of you?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. After that incident with the 12, my car was overheating, so I was on the verge of blowing up. I didn't think I'd make it to the end of the race, so I kind of had to back off, and then Dane would get ahead, and I would get ahead, and I think he might have spun out. That really gave me a little more of a cushion to stay ahead. But
Yeah.
no, it was fun battling with him.
Yeah, that was one of the more enjoyable things to watch here at the end of this race, as everybody was fairly strung out. You two were pretty much the ones fighting for it, and I was like, these teammates are probably trying to see who's best out here. But it was a good one for you here tonight, and I'm not sure if you're going to be filling in next week or running next week at Dover, but if so, what are your thoughts on heading out there?
Dover's, they don't call it Monster Mile for nothing. A lot of close racing, and it's more of a driver's track, I guess. So yeah, it'd be fun out there. It's interesting enough. Me and Daniel Hallis have history at Dover together in the Cup car, so I'll just leave it at that. if I sub next week.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. We'll keep that in mind if we see you out here in the 51 again. But it was a great race for you. I know you didn't come away with the win. You got a nice podium finish, though, even with all the issues there in that final stage.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Congrats to Alex on an awesome race, and Jacob, P2. Heck yeah. I don't think he's much of a road racer, and he pulled out a good one tonight.
Yeah, those two definitely fast, especially in the closing laps. But you were right there with them, and you were giving them a challenge throughout this whole event. So it was a good run for you. And before we let you go celebrate the top three, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Sure. Shout out to my Rick Ware teammates, Daniel Hallis, Alex Link for giving me the shot in the car, Shorba's iRacing Paints, Rapid Fire Pizza, and no, I'm not sure who the sponsors of the Cup car. I'm going to be honest.
It's Alpha Ornamental Metals. But,
Alpha Ornamental Metals.
Yep. There you go. All right, thank you.
I appreciate it. And VSP for broadcasting as always, man.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. Thank you for the good race out here. It was a fun one to watch. You were definitely one of the highlights of this race. So thanks for putting on a show for us, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good. Might see you at Dover. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was third place finisher Chris James, but on top of the pylon here tonight, Alexander Pelican, 2 wins in a row, and he moves on to round number 2 of the playoffs. I'm not sure if we're going to have the finalized playoff standings here, but we'll see if race control in the league is working on those here before we get out of today's broadcast. But either way, Alex Pelican wins tonight's race. He moves on regardless of where he finished tonight, but he takes another victory and doesn't allow another driver to win his way in. Jacob Shorba comes in. He was solidly locked in with points, so he finishes second here tonight, and he will move on. Chris James finishing in third, fill-in driver for Alex Link. He comes home third. Daniel Hallis in fourth. Solid run for him, and a really good job by the 53 here. Christopher White finishing in fifth with the battle with Mark Brannigan there in the final laps. Brannigan coming out on the losing end. He finishes in sixth. Ryan Strunk finishes seventh. Tanner Thus, after the bold strategy at the end with his teammate, he actually paid off for him here, finishing in 8th position. Chris Etcheper finishing 9th, and Cody Jordan rounding out the top 10. In 11th, it was Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 11. In 12th, it was Chad Ginningsman in the 17. 13th was Brandon Andrews. 14th was Nicholas Starling, who came in below the cut line, and we'll have to see where he comes out of tonight's race, if he is going to be in round number 2 or not. But he came in, I believe, 8 points below the cut line. Yes, 8 points. So maybe earned enough here. We'll have to see. Jonathan Hernandez finishing in 15th here. He was locked in. Justin Boyles was comfortably in, so he's going to move on. Eric Wineland comfortably in as well, finishes 17th. Justin Carey came in 3 points above the cut line. We'll have to see if he makes it in here, finishing 18th tonight. Richard Springer finishing 19th, and the number 66 of James Love finishing in 20th position. In 21st was Jordan Brockle, not the race he needed, and I don't think he is going to move on, but we will have to wait and see. Frank Weinset finishing 22nd, Darren Clement 23rd, James Jungerman finishing 24th, and Philip Radovich 25th. Jeremy Boucher 10 laps, or I'm sorry, 45 laps down here in 26th. Mike Springer in 27th, and then Derek Runge finishing 28th and rounding out our field here tonight. But tonight's winner, Alex Pelican, 2 weeks in a row. Dominating performance tonight, leading 52 of the 55 laps. And he comes out on top in that Jack Daniels Camaro. We want to give a big shout out to our sponsor here tonight, Alpha Ornamental Metals. They solve your ornamental metal needs, including steel, aluminum, and iron. Also home of the Streamline railing. So check those guys out on Facebook and give them a like or follow to support those guys. Also want to give a shout out to Shorba's iRacing Paints. You heard that name a few times, but you can head on over to Facebook, get your own custom paint scheme made by Jacob Shorba, the driver here who finished second. He creates awesome, professionally made paint schemes for the Cup and Xfinity cars here, probably trucks as well. But get your own custom scheme at an affordable price from Shorba's iRacing Paints over on Facebook, and we'll put that link in the chat along with Alpha Ornamental Metals. So check out those guys. Support the sponsors of the league here tonight. Also, another way to sponsor the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series is to head on over to the V-Speed shop, and you can get yourself some iRacing Fantasy Cup Series merch, either the t-shirt or the hat. You can save $20 or save $5 on your purchase using the code FANTASY5. And the first 25 to use that code will save that off of a purchase of $10 or more, regardless of what product it is in the shop. And a portion of each of those items, the hat or the shirt, goes right back into the league here. So you can support the league and support V-Speed at the same time and get yourself some awesome merch. We want to thank you so much for tuning in here on V-Speed. We were live tonight on Twitch. We appreciate everybody following, liking, commenting, and interacting here tonight. And we'll be right back next week on Monday over on YouTube, where we're also going to be posting race replays from the live broadcasts here on Twitch. But we're going to be live over there on Monday with the Ford Entertainment Group iRacing Flea Market Series. So head on over there, give us a like or follow, and we'd really appreciate it over there. Also, you can check us out on Facebook, where we announce each and every race throughout the week, along with Twitter and Instagram. That's going to be at VSpeedSim on those platforms, where we do special announcements as well as new leagues and just other announcements in general, new merchandise, things like that. You can check us out on those platforms where we post that. So you can stay informed and up to date with what VSpeed's doing and support us all at the same time. And we would really appreciate that. And we appreciate every one of you for coming out here tonight to the iRacing Fantasy Cup Series. This was the ROVAL 125, race number 3, playoff round number 1. And Alex Pelican wins again. So congratulations to him. And until next time, have a good night.